If you get your shed foundation wrong, you can ruin it in under a month. I've been running this test for 30 days and you can see how far the corner has already dropped. I'm Scott with Everyday Home Repairs, and if you're a DIY homeowner planning out a shed project, I'll show you the exact materials and the step-by-step installation process to make sure your shed sits on a solid foundation and you can avoid failures like this. And to make your shed build planning even easier, we put together a free materials list and cost estimator that you can customize to the size and style of shed you want. Link in the description or the pinned comment below the video. But first, let's break down what went wrong with this foundation so you can avoid it on your own build. So there's 3 mistakes that are present on this corner, and when all those come together, you have failures in as little as 1 month. If you remove 1 of those, maybe it lasts a year, 2 of those, maybe 10 years, 3 of those, maybe it lasts for decades. So you want to minimize or reduce all 3 of these. The first one being water. When we do not manage the water coming off our roof surface, just understand that that is going to go right at the base of your shed. So what could that possibly do? It's just water droplets, right? Well, it erodes away at the base, erodes away at the material underneath your concrete blocks or your tough blocks, and it can cause damage, especially if you have the second mistake also present. So the second one has to do with how you're compacting and laying out the material underneath your blocks. Remember, the left side here was susceptible to the same water as the right side. So why do we have failure over here? That's because we do not build up this corner. We have the same paver base underneath the concrete blocks, but it's pretty flat. So the droplets were really ricocheting off the ground and then hitting the concrete block. Here, we actually mounded up or built up this corner with paver base underneath for about 1 inch or 1.5 inches. So that is a perfect surface area for the water to deteriorate, undermine that concrete block, and then lead to accelerated failure. Now, the third mistake is the material, and paver base is super common, but not the right selection. Do not use sand. We're not even going to talk about sand. Do not use sand on your projects. Now, paver base is almost as bad. It's very nice to work with, easy to compact, easy to get level in both directions, but it's not going to be very resilient to eroding away, and that's not the right choice for this application. Pea gravel has a little bit more aggregate, so less fines like we have with our paver base, maybe a little bit better for erosion, but it never really compacts and locks together. So your corners, depending on what you're using, can kind of settle in and push the pea gravel out of the way and sink your footings or your supports into the pea gravel over time. Then you have your 3/4 inch rock. This is going to be good because it has multiple different sizes of aggregate, so it will compact down and it'll just hold much better over time and be a little bit more resilient to not eroding away from water coming off your roof line. Now, to fix this, if you have a similar failure, all we need to do is raise up or jack up the one side or the problem area of our shed foundation. Here I got to dig down a little bit, and this is such a small shed, I'm actually able just to put a bottle jack underneath the outside joist. For you, if it's larger or loaded up with stuff, you might want to get a 4x4 post, span multiple joists, and then put your jack underneath the 4x4 post to distribute out that load. Then that will help you raise up without causing any damage to your floor system. So I'll just get the weight off of this corner here, and then we'll start building it back up. Now, believe it or not, I'm going to build it up exactly the same way. Why am I going to do that? Because I want to do some testing and show you side by side paver base versus pea gravel versus our 3/4 inch aggregate, putting water on the roof for multiple hours and show you how fast this can actually deteriorate away your foundation if you pick the wrong method and the wrong material. All right, so we got our fancy testing rig set up. I'm gonna run this for hours, and you can see without the gutters, you have water going right along that surface there, dropping right to your base. And that's where the erosion can happen, especially if you're building up mounds like this and using the wrong materials. Now, I put some screws in each one of these that will give us a good reference to where we started off, and now see how much does it actually eat away at each of these materials after a couple hours of running. So we have about 1 more hour of simulated rain. That's gonna be 3 total hours or a very soggy day, and you will not believe the impact that this will have on your foundation for your shed. if you use the wrong materials and the wrong method of setting that foundation. Now, if you're still in the planning phases for your shed build, don't forget we have a link in the description or this QR code right here for our materials list and cost estimator. And all you'll do is provide what style, a classic gable or a utility lean-to, the size, and then we'll give you the one-pager with the quantities of each material and the associated cost to each one of your line items. Additionally, we put the project pack, which is what we offer. That is a screw kit, a roofing kit, a double door kit, and the vents you need to make it easier for your build. These are parts you're not gonna find at a home improvement store, or you're gonna have to buy a huge quantity that you don't need. And then your overall total, which is gonna help you make the right decision, whether you're doing a DIY build or comparing that to hiring it out. So the first one overall did not fare too bad. It's eating away just slightly there, but it really hasn't settled in, and it's about the way it was before the 3-hour test started. Then 3/4 inch aggregate. Remember, we have those screws there for you to reference. Those were buried, and we did see quite a bit of the rock get backed away, and it even starts to go a little bit under the block. So that is probably gonna be a failure point, as well as the pea gravel. Again, the pea gravel is backed away from the screws, which were fully covered by the pea gravel when we started the test, and it's starting to eat away at the aggregate underneath the concrete block. That was that failure mode we saw over here when we started off. And now the same thing's happening again to the paver base. It, in 3 hours, one day, a very soggy day, is already starting to eat out underneath the concrete block. So technically, I would say the biggest factor is if you're building up your material, independent of if it's paver base, pea gravel, or 3/4 inch rock, you are gonna have problems if you have the water dropping right at the base and eating away or eroding your material out from under your concrete blocks. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments, but from this testing, we can see you could easily have a failure in less than 1 month if you have all 3 of those mistakes present. Now, if you want to dive a lot deeper on setting a level floor, check out this video right here. We'll go through concrete blocks, tough blocks, and adjustable pedestals. Or if you want an oversized compacted gravel base to set your shed on, check out this video right here. Or if you want to go all the way to a concrete slab, which is your best option, but a ton of labor and a little bit more cost, check out this video right here where I'll compare the mud mixer to the Harbor Freight mixer. Thanks for joining me on this video, and we'll catch you on one of those next ones. Take care.